The Oculus Quest is a new standalone virtual reality headset. An all-in-one VR device that does not need an expensive PC. But what is it about exactly and who should get it? In this video, we'll let you know our first impressions on the headset after spending 4 hours with it at PAX East. This is an episode in our Dive into VR series where we share our excitement about interesting VR technology and news. Subscribe to see more VR videos like this one. A special thanks goes to Oculus for providing travel and accommodation to PAX East so that we can spend time with the headset. However, no review direction was received from them, so our opinions are our own. And there is a lot of info, so grab a drink, sit tight and join me in this video. Let's get started. The Oculus Quest is a standalone VR headset that will retail for $399. Standalone means that you do not need an expensive PC to use it. It is a wireless and portable headset. The Quest has 4 wide-angle sensors on the front of the headset that is used for inside-out tracking, making it possible for you to play VR games straight out of the box without the need of any cumbersome external sensors. It comes with 6 DoF, which is short for 6 degrees of freedom, meaning that you can freely move around and look around in a virtual environment like you would in real life. By comparison, the Oculus Go only comes with 3 DoF, making it only possible to look around. The Quest also comes with 2 6 DoF controllers, giving you the same kind of experience as playing with a PC VR headset. The Quest runs on a Snapdragon 835, which is a mobile processor also found in phones like the Samsung Galaxy S8 and the OnePlus 5, which were released in 2017. A PC VR headset like the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive runs with a powerful graphics card to be able to handle heavyweight VR games. The Quest runs on a mobile processor, so it is more considered as a mobile VR headset. This means you won't be able to play the same VR games with the same visual fidelity. This does not mean that you can't play Rift quality games though, because you can, but to be able to run Rift games on the Quest, developers need to optimize the games. This means that Quest games will come with downgraded graphics. You can compare this to playing a game on the PC and playing a game on your mobile phone. Surprisingly though, many polished Rift games are going to be playable on the Quest. Great and big Rift titles like Robo Recall, Moss and Orbus VR will all be playable on the Quest. I will talk more about the graphics and tracking compared to PC VR headsets later in this video, but let's start with the Quest's look and comfort first. First of all, the Oculus Quest that we tried during PAX East was not the finalized version. Please keep this in mind when watching this video. So yeah, this is the Quest. I really like the look of the Oculus Quest. It has a more playful design than other VR headsets because of its rounded corners, but it still looks cool. It has the same kind of straps as the original Rift, and it is more front heavy compared to the Halo design of the PSVR. To me, the Halo design is the most comfortable, and after that comes the Oculus Rift design, so the Quest 2, then after that the Vive Deluxe audio strap, where for me the Go is the least comfortable because that headset is the most front heavy. So the Quest comes on number 2 as most comfortable for me. Comfort is a very personal thing though, so I would recommend trying it out in a store first if this is a big deal for you. There is a USB-C type connector at the side that is used to charge the device or to get access to the headset's file system. The face foam is soft and is removable, and there is also enough room to fit Chary's glasses in, as you can see here. Let's move on to the Quest's display and lenses. The Oculus Quest uses dual OLED displays, making it possible to manually select your interpupillary distance or IPD with a physical slider at the bottom of the headset. For those that don't know, your IPD is the distance between the centers of the pupils of your eyes in millimeters. Selecting the right IPD for your eyes is very important because it helps with seeing more clearly in VR. The IPD range on the Quest should be the same as the Oculus Rift, which is 58 48 to 72mm. However, this has yet to be confirmed by Oculus. The resolution is 1600 x 1440 per eye, which is higher than the original Oculus Rift. However, the Rift uses a 90Hz refresh rate and the Quest has a refresh rate of 72Hz. We found that the differences is not very noticeable here though. The lenses are the same as the Oculus Go and the field of view is the same as the Rift and HTC Vive to our eyes. While you are watching this video, please leave a like if you are enjoying this video. What does this mean for the visuals of content on the Quest compared to PC VR headsets like the Oculus Rift and the original HTC Vive? At PAX East we got to try out a few Oculus games very intensively, and the games we tried out the most were Beat Saber, Dance Central, Journey of the Gods and Shadow Point. And we were amazed at how capable the Oculus Quest is. What excited us the most is that Rift quality games like Robo Recall work with the Quest. It is surprising to me that a mobile processor that is 2 years old now is able to handle the inside-out tracking and the game while keeping its frame rate. It does a fine job at giving you the same kind of VR gaming experience as a PC VR headset. How they do it, only Oculus will know, but I guess Oculus's experience with the Rift and their collaboration with Qualcomm, who is the manufacturer of the mobile processor, made it possible for Oculus to optimize their software to get the best performance possible. Oculus has said before that because they are designing the headset only for VR, they were able to get the most out of the processor, and that is very noticeable. While it works really well, it is important to mention that a mobile processor can never have the same graphics as a PC VR headset, so Rift games will have downgraded graphics on the Quest. To show you what I mean, here I show you footage of Dance Central on both the PC VR headset Rift S and the Quest. Left you can see the PC VR headset's quality and at the right you can see the Quest's quality. The graphics on the Quest looks less refined and it is a noticeable difference. However, I noticed that when we were playing, we would kind of forget about the graphics and have as much fun as we would on a PC VR headset. The immersion felt the same. As mentioned before, the Quest features OLED displays, which means more vibrant color contrast and deeper blacks compared to the LCD display of the Go and Rift S. But the Quest has a higher resolution, which does compensate for the lower graphics a bit. And with the higher resolution, the text looks sharper than the original Rift too. God rays and screen door effects look kinda the same to me as the original Rift, but I didn't have the original Rift with me to compare at hand though, so a final say on this will come later once we have the Quest at home. The lenses are the same as the Go. What was also very interesting to check out was the Quest's tracking. For the tracking, the Quest features a new technology called Oculus Insight, which powers the inside-out tracking, the Guardian and controller tracking. It uses 4 sensors in the front of the headset, making it possible to play VR games without any external sensors. 6 degrees of freedom on a standalone VR headset is the thing that excites us the most. This is a huge improvement over the Oculus Go and many other standalone VR headsets out there right now. We feel that 6 stuff is what you need to be truly immersed in a virtual world. What the Quest further adds is a freedom by being wireless out of the box, and that is just an incredible feeling. But how good is the tracking really though? The short answer is good overall. Having 4 wide-angle sensors works better than the Windows Mixed Reality headsets that only have 2 cameras at the front. I did notice some tracking loss though with the controller. If you put it behind your head, for example, it might get stuck in game and if you then look at your controllers might drift. It's logical since there is no camera at the back of the headset, and of course a tracking system with external sensors is superior because it can track the rear side of your headset too. Don't get me wrong though, the tracking is better than expected. I only had some drifting because I was intentionally looking for it. This does not happen often. If you move your hands fast, Oculus's smart software will be able to guess where your controllers are when it loses tracking, and it will try to predict where your movement is going to be, making tracking loss almost not noticeable unless you are really looking for it. I mentioned this during our Rift S first impressions, and since the Quest uses the same technology, it might be possible that you can still climb a wall backward in the game. I haven't had the chance to try this out on the Quest yet though. Even with a fast-paced game like Beat Saber, the tracking works well. We tried playing on Expert and we could do the songs as we are used to. I did notice a bit of stutter when I put my controllers on top of the headset though, but for this to happen less, I had to slightly adjust how I moved my arms to the top. This wasn't disturbing to me, it still works. Other games like Journey of the Gods, Dance Central and Shadow Point worked very well and got us excited for future Quest games. The Quest does need light to be able to track your movements. We don't know how much light you need yet though, so we will come back later to this. As for battery life, by timing our playtime while looking at the battery percentage, we could determine that the battery life should be around 2.5 to 3 hours. However, I do think this depends on what you do. We were playing a VR game while recording at the same time with the Quest's integrated recording feature, so it is possible that the Quest might be able to go on a little longer if you are not recording. The controllers are new too. They are the same controllers as the ones that are coming with the Oculus Rift S, so if you have both headsets, you can use the same controllers on both. There are almost no differences with the old Rift controllers. You get the same buttons on each. The buttons are still capacitive, so you can still make a couple of hand gestures. You still need one AA battery per controller, which you need to exchange. The only two differences are that the new ones feel more ergonomic to us and the straps are made from a different material, which I think is silicone. When in VR, the controllers feel pretty much the same as the old controllers to us. A new feature is Passthrough Plus. With it, you can see the real world around you without taking off your headset. You can turn it on with a press of a button or set it to automatically turn on when you walk outside of your Guardian. For those that don't know, a Guardian is a virtual wall that shows your play space to prevent you from bumping into things. You can set up the Guardian yourself. When you use Passthrough Plus, the camera view is not high quality. It's like watching through an old webcam, but it's enough to see where you are or speak to people with. I checked this out briefly and I think it is a very handy feature. As for audio, the Oculus Quest has integrated speakers much like the Oculus Go. This means that you don't need headphones to hear the game and you'll still be able to hear people talking to you. I always liked this on the go, so my opinion isn't different here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to check out the speaker audio or the headphones audio well enough because there was too much outside noise during the event. I will have to come back to this point later on. The Oculus Quest does have two 3.5mm audio jacks available on each side. You can use earbuds or headphones by plugging them on either side, or for the audiophiles out there, you can use the second audio jack too. It is safe to say that the Quest will have more content than the Go. Oculus has been working with many developers to get their existing game ported to VR or are working on a new game for the Quest. There will be 50 games available at launch with exciting titles like Robo Recall, Moss, Super Hot VR, Dead and Buried 2 and Orbis VR. This will certainly keep you busy. Oculus has also announced that the Quest content store will support cross-play and cross-buy. Cross-play means that you can play multiplayer VR games with Rift owners, which will enlarge the player base, something that is much needed for some multiplayer VR games. Cross players won't have the same visual fidelity, but because both headsets have 6 DOF, you should have the same chances to win. Cross-buy is good news because if you already own a Rift and have bought games before, you now can play those games free of charge on the Quest 2. However, the developer will have the choice to add that to their game, so not all games might support it. So who is the headset for and should you buy it? If you already own a VR-ready PC, then of course the best choice would still be a PC VR headset, because the graphics will be better and you have more games to choose from, which is logical since those headsets are powered by a powerful graphics card and a mobile VR headset can never be as powerful. But those headsets are more expensive and they are also more cumbersome to take with you. If you are looking for portability, then I think the Quest is a really good option. It gives you more freedom, it is more capable than expected on a mobile processor. If you are new to VR and don't have a VR ready PC, then I would recommend the Quest, even if you don't like gaming, since VR is not only about gaming. For example, you can also unleash your creativity on it. It can teach you things that in my opinion will last longer than by reading a book. Or you can catch up with long distance friends, like they are right next to you. And just so much more. If you do own a PC VR headset already, we feel the Quest could be a nice addition if you have the budget for it. For example, imagine bringing Beat Saber with you while traveling so you can get that workout in, or being able to take it with you with ease to parties, or just being able to continue playing that VR MMO game in your comfortable bed instead of always the same play space is a nice change. Right now there is no other standalone VR headset out there that comes near to what the Quest has in terms of content, and to us, content is king. So this is going to be the standalone headset to look out for. So, what are your thoughts on the Quest now? Would you buy it? And if so, please also let us know if you already own a VR headset, because we are curious to hear if people will buy the Quest as a second headset too. A special thanks goes to Art Armin, our right hand patron, and a shout out goes to his Patreon page. And to everyone else, thank you so much for watching once again. That is the biggest support that you can give us. And as always, VR on! Milky Way, what is up? You hungry, buddy? I am trying to record here, Milky Way. Maybe I should give him food first.